Good evening and welcome to the Ogden City Council meeting for Tuesday, June 7th, 2016. Let the roll call reflect that all council members are present with the exception of Chair White, who is asked to be excused. First on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance, and we have a scout in the audience. Tanner Harris has agreed to lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance. So if Tanner will come up, that'd be great. Are you working on a merit badge, Tanner? Which merit badge? Probably citizenship. Communications, awesome. Well, we'll turn the time over to you. Okay.
Proper hand salute. Please repeat me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now we would just ask that you join with us in a moment of silence. Thank you. Before we begin, we're going to do some shifting on the agenda, and with that, I will go ahead and make a motion that we make those amendments. I will entertain a motion, sorry.
Okay, Vice Chair Blair, I would make a motion that we move item 9A to position 7 on the agenda, and would also ask that we remove the closed executive session from the agenda.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Heyer to move 9A to 7A and to eliminate the closed executive session, with a second by Councilmember Lopez. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. First up are recognitions, and the first recognition is the Juneteenth Freedom Day, and Councilmember Garner will read that.
Truly a pleasure for me to read this proclamation today. Declaring June 18th, 2016 as Juneteenth Freedom Day in Ogden City. Whereas Juneteenth is the oldest known celebration commemorating the abolition of slavery in the United States and the emancipation of African American slaves throughout the Confederate South, Union soldiers landed at Galveston, Texas on June 19, 1865, with news that the war had ended and the enslaved were now free, more than 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was issued on January 1, 1863. Until that day, slavery had been relatively unaffected in Texas by the Emancipation Proclamation, and Texas had even been viewed as a safe haven for slave owners to relocate with their slaves, because the state experienced no large-scale fighting or significant presence of Union troops. And whereas on that first Juneteenth, a name that combines June and 19th, the people of Texas were read General Order Number 3, which stated, "The people of Texas are informed that in accordance with a proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. This involves an absolute equality of rights and rights of property between former masters and slaves, and the connection heretofore existing between them becomes that between employer and free laborer." The Juneteenth announcement was met with jubilation that spread throughout the country. As African Americans relocated to neighboring states and became reacquainted with family, And whereas the first Juneteenth celebration was a time for reassurance, prayer, and the gathering of family members, Juneteenth continued to be widely observed in Texas decades later, with many former slaves and descendants making an annual pilgrimage back to Galveston. Juneteenth today continues to grow within communities and organizations throughout the country. Numerous local and national Juneteenth organizations have arisen alongside older organizations with the common mission of promoting and cultivating knowledge and appreciation of African American history and culture, while encouraging continuous self-development and respect for all people and cultures. And whereas during the 2016 legislative session, Utah became the 45th state in the nation to have an official state observance of Juneteenth Freedom Day, which will be commemorated annually in Utah on the third Saturday in June. The Juneteenth commemoration has been observed in Utah as a community freedom festival for more than 75 years by various communities. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Ogden City Council and Mayor Michael P. Caldwell hereby proclaim June 18th, 2016 as Juneteenth Freedom Day in Ogden City, and we encourage residents, schools, businesses, and community groups to celebrate Juneteenth as a day of remembrance and celebration. We appreciate the significant efforts of those in our community and our Utah State representatives to make this special holiday an official state observance. And with that, I'll make a motion that we adopt this joint proclamation celebrating Juneteenth Freedom Day.
I second it.
We have a motion by Councilmember Garner with a second by Councilmember Stevens, right? To adopt the proclamation declaring Juneteenth Freedom Day in Ogden City. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. And I believe we have Betty Sawyer here tonight. Please come forward.
Thank you. We have some of our Juneteenth committee with us this evening, as well as the chairperson of our Board of Project Success, Ms. Annette Foster. He will come forward. Pastor Charles Petty, who's been a long-time supporter of this congregation. Ms. McQueen, our committee chairperson, our Juneteenth committee chairperson. We have some of our Black Scholars United who are partners with us. Eddie, our vice president, is here tonight if he will come forward. And Ms. Adrian Andrews, our chief diversity officer at Weber State, who's one of our major sponsors of this event. And I'll have Ms. Foster say a couple of words.
Just let's go and take a picture. Let's get a picture.
Picture first and then. Is everyone ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Again, my name is Annette Foster, and I'm on the Board of Project Success and also part of the board committee for the Juneteenth. And I just want to thank you for the proclamation. Such an honor and long overdue, but thank you. And I also would like to thank some of our supporters, Weber State University, Weber County, RAP, Ogden Weber Applied Technology, Harambe Tobacco and Health Network, Weber State Black Scholar United, and Golden West Credit Union. Thank you.
Thank you.
And along with the proclamation, we were able to have the Juneteenth flag hung as well. And this is our national flag that was created by the former president and chair of the Massachusetts State Juneteenth Commission. And that flag was created in 1997 and then updated in 2007 to include the actual date of that first historic commemoration. And so we're glad to be able to have that here at the City Council chamber so that others could see it and learn more about our history, and not only our history, but what that means to us today. And lastly, I'd like to invite all of you, whoever's in town, except for Council Member Lopez. I know he's not going to be around next weekend. But come out to Weber State University on June the 17th and 18th from 12 noon until 9 p.m. on both days. Friday, we have a wonderful community conversation at 6 p.m. at Weber State in the Union Ballroom. On Saturday, we just received word that Governor Herbert will be joining us to do a ceremonial signing of that Juneteenth bill at 1 o'clock, so we invite you to come out for that as well. And again, thank you so much.
Thanks, Betty.
Okay, next up is recognizing Diego Alvarez for winning the Gold Gloves National Boxing Championships, and we've asked Luis Lopez, or Councilmember Lopez, to read that recognition.
Thank you, Chair Blair. It is an honor for me to read this recognition for Diego Alvarez. The Ogden City Council and Mayor proudly recognize Diego Alvarez for providing invaluable contributions to the Ogden community. Diego embodies the spirit of Ogden through his hard work, perseverance, and tenacity. Those qualities shine through as a 17-year-old won Utah's first Golden Gloves National Boxing Championship in 25 years and was presented with the Golden Boy Award, which goes to the tournament's most outstanding fighter. Diego trains at Los Gallitos Boxing Club, a small Ogden gym under the direction of Lalo Lopez. Diego intends to remain an amateur for a few more years and then make a run at the 2020 U.S. Olympic team. These remarkable young men's hard work and exceptional results have unified residents and strengthened our sense of community pride. We wish him our best in all of his future endeavors. Congratulations, Diego, and your family. Thank you. Come on up, please.
Congratulations.
Get your familia.
He's going to grab his belt.
Okay, yeah. I want to know how you fit that belt through the loops.
Invite your family to come over here, please, so we can take a picture with them. And your friends, whoever came with you. Whoever came with you.
You can invite whoever you want. Right? Who's going to tell you now?
Stand everyone up. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. One more.
Does he want to say?
Or we can ask you questions. How about that? We'll ask you a few questions. Are you okay with that? Yeah? Okay, come on.
Go ahead if you want to. Okay. Okay. So we just want to know a little bit more about the competition. Can you tell us a little bit about the competition you went to? And
it was good competition. It was fun.
Where was it at?
It was at South Palace Center.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many matches?
I had 5. I fought all week.
You don't look. You look like you got through there pretty easy.
Yeah.
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 How long have you been fighting?
I've been boxing for 9 years.
9 years?
Yeah.
So what are your plans for, you said you want to go to the Olympics?
Yeah, I wanna go to the Olympics.
How are you going to work on to get there? What are your plans to make that happen?
Work hard, and then we're just gonna try to go to the Kansas fights that are gonna be next month, and then we're gonna try out for the Junior Olympics next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just so you know, and your relatives and your family members that are here, myself, along with the administration and some other people that are here, Tom Christopoulos and some other people we're working to try to get some funding, a grant to open up a boxing gym here in Ogden.
All right.
Okay, to allow more kids like you and people like your trainer. I know your trainer is Lalo, right?
Yeah.
Lalo, is he here?
Yeah.
Right?
He's right there.
To allow you guys and all our other people that like boxing here to be a part of a program like this, and we have more champions like you.
Yeah.
So just wanted to share that.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Wish you the best.
Yep.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And next up is a recognition for the Boyle Appliance Center, recognizing the 160th anniversary of the Boyle Appliance Center. And I will read that. It reads, "The Ogden City Council and Mayor proudly recognize Boyle Appliance Center for providing invaluable contributions to the Ogden community. One of the oldest and still operational businesses in Ogden, Boyle Appliance Center is celebrating a 160-year milestone. The family-owned business was established in 1856 as Boyle Furniture Company, just 5 years after the incorporation of Ogden City. As a locally owned and operated company, Boyle Appliance Center has been built around traditional business ethics and conducts business with integrity. The Boyle family has been actively involved in the Ogden community for generations, with a member of the Boyle family, John A. Boyle, even serving on the Ogden City Council and as the mayor of Ogden in the late 1800s. We wish Boyle Appliance Center our best in all future endeavors. We value the extensive history of the business in Ogden and express our sincere appreciation for it being part of the fabric of our community." And tonight we have James Boyle here tonight to receive this. So we'll ask Mr. Boyle to come up, and you can bring your family and
Congratulations. Thank you so much.
Thanks for your good contribution.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Jim.
Yes, we are.
Tell that.
Thank you. High five.
How are you?
Thank you.
You just have to turn around right
Thank you very much.
Are you Boyle too? Wow. Yeah. Let's crowd in a little bit.
Here, we'll get your picture. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Okay.
Mr. Boyle, we'd love to hear from
You, that's you.
I'm not going to take too long, but I'm glad Steve's here by my side. I've done this for appliance business for 40 years myself. I took the company over and we had 4 employees. Now we have 23 employees and 6 trucks and a big warehouse we just completed down on 22nd Street. We appreciate the Ogden City being behind us and giving us the support. Once in a while, we use your services for fire and police, and I'd like to take a minute here and just give this to my son, because after, 40 years of doing this, a little bit more, I'm going to let him have that pressure of, I've always had that pressure of maybe me being the last generation. I'm the 6th generation. Steve's my son, he's the 7th. So I'm going to turn it over to him, and I'm planning on retiring soon and going to my St. George house. But we appreciate all the recognition, and it's been neat doing business in Ogden City for all these many years.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next on the agenda is the approval of minutes. First is the regular meeting of February 16th, 2016, and the special meeting of March 8th, 2016. Councilmember Stevens.
Yes, Vice Chair, they're correct.
Next is the regular meeting of March 15th, 2016, and the regular meeting of April 5th, 2016. Councilmember Heyer.
Yes, Vice Chair Blair, I have reviewed those and found them to be accurate.
Okay. Next are my minutes, which would be the special meeting and closed executive session of April 12th, 2016, and I have reviewed those and found them to be accurate also. Next is the joint work session of April 12th and the joint work session of April 26th, 2016. Councilmember Lopez.
Yes, Chair Blair, I reviewed the minutes and found them to be correct.
And the regular meeting and closed executive session of April 26th, 2016. Councilmember Nadolski.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I've reviewed the minutes, found them to be accurate to my recollection, and I make a motion that we approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
We have a motion to adopt the minutes by Councilmember Nadolski and a second by Councilmember Heyer. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Next up, we have 2 items listed under common consent. The FY 2017 salary schedules and the FY 2016 budget amendment year-end amendments.
Vice Chair Blair.
Blair I make a motion that we adopt items of common consent 6A and B.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Garner to adopt the 2 items listed under common consent, setting the public hearing for June 21st on both items, and a second by Councilmember Heyer. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Next up is is the public hearing, and first on that will be the grant loan to the BV Maple Utah LLC.
Mr. Tom Kostopoulos will be handling that with his fancy suit.
Chair, council members, tonight I will present a loan that is convertible at some point under certain terms and conditions, which I will go over, to the BV Maple Holdings Ball Ventures Company, based on accepting a study that was required under Utah Code 10-8-2, finding that this particular grant and loan will further public policy and benefit the city. So one of the things that we have done in the background is we have to determine that there is a corporate purpose for this particular loan, that this loan, as stated, will benefit and improve the safety and health and well-being, peace, and order of the community. We have to determine that we are receiving significant value for the loan that we are providing, and that loan then will lead to a beneficial outcome. We originally held a council session in September of 26th of 2012, in which we established a process by which we would consider such 1082 loans or grants. And that particular study established that we would have to have some or all of these conditions that would occur: remove blight in underdeveloped properties, increase the city's tax base, create jobs, retain jobs, or identify any other public purpose that we thought was important. In this particular case, we forwarded to the council office a request by BV Maple Holdings for this $100,000 loan on April the 19th. We had a work session and kind of went over the terms and conditions, and the terms and conditions were to remove the old Fred Meyer store, which was built which actually was occupied. I don't know when it was built. It was occupied until 2002 and has been empty for the 14 years. The building has obviously gotten older and decayed and has now been determined to be unusable. In the original approach by Maple Holdings, the discussion was had whether the city would participate. We established that we would take the 1082 request to the city council if there was significant improvement to the property. We gave them two classes of properties types that we would accept. One was retail and the other was undetermined at that time, but as it came back as a substantial increase through the development of a medical facility. So the benefits of this particular action by the City Council will actually increase the property tax generated by the property of $112,700 per year, and that will begin as soon as the building is constructed. Under the terms and conditions of the loan, the project must begin by August and must be completed by 2 years later in order for the loan to convert to a grant. If it doesn't meet those conditions, the loan has to be repaid. So sales tax, we estimate that the property is, while it's not a high income sales tax generator, the way it would be developed would generate about $30,000 a year in additional sales tax. The development then also helps clean out a blighted building that has been stuck for a long time and is a significant benefit in providing a medical facility to the north end of the community and provide services to that north end, which haven't been fully developed at this point. So the economic development will be additional purchases in the city, economic diversification, additional economic development in and around the site. The existing business and industries will bring additional employees to the area, and additional expenditures will be made and captured through the retail centers from the employees that work at this particular facility. The facility being a medical facility will generate relatively high income to the employees there, which will then be shared throughout the city. So the promissory, to recap the promissory note and loan agreement, the loan is for $100,000. It will be paid to Ogden City to the Bell Venture in a lump sum within 30 days of the following: issuance of a demolition permit and proof of the agreement with the demolition company. Substantial commencement of the demolition must begin on or before August the 1st of 2016. A new structure must be completed on or before August the 1st of 2018. So most of the activities will take place relatively quickly. If Ball Ventures fails to complete the new development on August 1st, 2018, Ball Ventures must repay the loan plus 5% interest within 30 days. The interest rate will be 15% if not paid within the 30 days. So the agreement, as we've looked at some of the questions that came, is that we feel that getting the building down and progressing with the new property as quickly as possible is in the best interest of the community. It adds a significant amount of economic development to the quadrant along 12th Street, fleshes out a piece of property, 13.22 acres, that has been sitting for 12 years, 14 years. My math is really bad. And so from our particular standpoint, from the CED standpoint, The relative return on the investment by the city is 1 year. So we're only advancing 1 year worth of terms to get the building down. There is substantial asbestos incursion in the building, and that cleanup will be fairly significant. The building demolition will be somewhere between $150,000 and $250,000, so there's a significant demolition. So with that, our recommendation is that we move forward, get the building down, get something built, and get it going as quickly as possible, and that Ball has proceeded and brought us the type of development that we think is beneficial, and it's worth us maintaining and supporting that going forward.
Tom, does the demolition include the parking lot at all, or the exterior part of the
It will
grounds?
include the parking lot, because the parking lot will have to be removed in order to meet the new building. The new building setting will basically require most of the parking lot, if not all of it, to have to be removed. And the lighting, so it'll be pretty much a full removal of the building and cleaning up of everything that's there.
Okay.
That's one of the reasons it's so expensive.
Vice Chair Blair, regardless of the timeline that is listed in here, what is the expectation? What do you expect that they will do? What are their plans? Are they going to demo and then start to build right away, or?
Our expectation is that they'll meet what's in the time frame. That was the negotiation that we had, is that they needed to be built, and was one of our reasons to go forward. We didn't want the building to be, or the area to be just demolished and then sit there for another decade. Although it would look better, we'd have weeds all over the place. So we thought we would give them a reasonable time to respond to getting the building up, puts them on a fairly tight time frame. So the demolition will take anywhere between 90 days and 120 days, and then they have time to move forward and get the plans done and submitted and begin construction. So construction, in order to meet the 2018 deadline, would have to start next spring.
Okay, thank you.
Vice Chair. So I just want to say thanks for negotiating the terms of this agreement. Looking closely at them, I think they're very appropriate, and you put in good safeguards for the city, especially as we consider using city funds, but also maintaining an aggressive position for this property. Well done, thank you.
Thank you.
I think the development is drastically needed in the northern end of the city, and it'll benefit the city in that capacity there. So,
Okay, any more questions for Mr. Christopoulos?
There are no more questions. I'll make a motion that
It's
we
a public
open
hearing.
the public hearing.
Second.
So we have a motion by Councilmember Heyer and a second by Councilmember Lopez to open the public hearing. Sorry. All in favor? This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
I guess seeing no movement, I will make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Heyer and a second by Councilmember Lopez to close the public hearing. This is also a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. And any further discussion?
Nope, I will make a motion that we adopt ordinance 2016-26.
I second it.
That's wrong.
Yeah.
2016-16. Sorry.
Second that.
We have a motion by Councilmember Heyer to adopt proposed resolution 2016-16 and a second by Councilmember Stevens. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Garner.
Aye.
Councilmember Heyer.
Aye.
Councilmember Lopez.
Aye.
Councilmember Nadolski.
Aye.
Councilmember Stevens.
Aye.
Acting Chair Blair.
Aye. That passes. Next is FY 2016 budget amendment, property purchase, demolition, and branding projects.
Lisa Stat will be making that presentation.
Thank
Thank you, Acting Chair Blair, council members. It's a pleasure to be here on behalf of administration tonight. Before you is an action to appropriate additional funds in the city budget. I just would quickly review the purpose of this budget opening and then propose that you adopt the resolution before you, the ordinance before you, excuse me. Currently, the BDO has sufficient funds to appropriate money for a transfer to the general fund to fund the demolition of the property on 12th Street and the corner of 12th Street and Wall Avenue in the amount of $100,000. Also, to appropriate funds for a property purchase near the Lantern House on 33rd Street in the amount of $93,600. This $93,600 will cover the purchase price and also some soil remediation on that property in the amount of $6,100 in addition to the closing costs. This action will also appropriate $100,000 out of general fund balance, which is sufficient to cover this appropriation in the amount of $100,000 to apply towards the branding effort of the city. And the recommendation is that you adopt this ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you. This also is a public hearing, so I would entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
I'll make a motion that we open the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Garner and a second by Councilmember Lopez to open the public hearing. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
In the movement, I make a motion that we close the public hearing, Acting Chair.
Second.
We have a motion to close the public hearing by Councilmember Lopez with a second by Councilmember Heyer. This also is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That passes. And with that, I will entertain a motion.
Acting Chair Blair, I would make a motion that we adopt ordinance 2016-26.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Heyer to adopt proposed ordinance 2016-26 with a second by Councilmember Garner. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Heyer.
Aye.
Councilmember Lopez.
Aye.
Councilmember Nadolski.
Aye.
Councilmember Stevens.
Aye.
Councilmember Garner.
Aye.
Acting Chair Blair.
Aye, that passes. Next is the sewer water revenue and refunding bonds.
Chair, this will be started by Brandy Johnson, and she'll be supported by friends.
Okay. This is an opportunity for us to receive input on this, so thank you.
Acting Chair Blair and council members, I'm here on behalf of administration. On May 17th, Council adopted Resolution 2016-18, authorizing the refunding of the callable portions of the 2008 and 2009 water sewer revenue bonds for economic savings, and at the same time issue an additional $17 million in bonds to finance improvements to its existing sewer and water system, including but not limited to replacement of distribution pipes, fire flow and intake improvements, acquisition of a pump station and a well field, and other related projects. The 2016 bond issue is not to exceed $64 million. Louis Young has estimated the refunding will generate significant savings, currently estimated to be about $5.3 million over the life of the issue and about $3.8 million on a net present value basis. The capital projects were anticipated and projected in the Comprehensive Financial Sustainability Plan completed by Louis Young and the city in a separate study. And since the refunding reduces the cost of the existing debt service, no rate increase above the CPI increase will be needed to facilitate the required debt service coverage, even including the new money construction component. It makes economic sense to include these projects with the refunding transaction as it provides economies of scale relative to the financing costs, and both transactions benefit by increasing the offering size. The final maturity dates on the 2008 and 2009 bonds will not be extended beyond the original maturity dates. The 2008 bonds have a maturity date of 2038, and the 2009 bonds mature in 2024. It is anticipated that the portion of the bonds used to finance these new projects will be amortized on a level debt service basis over a period of time not to exceed 25 years, which has been how our other system improvement debt has been amortized. Under state law, the council is required to hold a public hearing for the new money portion of this transaction. The hearing applies only to the new projects being funded with the $17 million of the Series 2016 bond issue. No action is needed by the council tonight unless you decide not to issue the $17 million in additional funds for the capital improvements after consideration of the opinions expressed tonight at the public hearing. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay.
Make a motion to open the public hearing.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Nadolski to open the public hearing with a second by Councilmember Heyer. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
And I'll make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion to close the public hearing by Councilmember Garner and a second by Councilmember Heyer. This too is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
And then with that, I'll make a motion that we... Okay.
Perfect. So thank you for being here. Next is report from the Planning Commission excluding truck terminals as a conditional use in commercial zones.
Have the vote yet?
I thought we just accepted input.
Just accept input.
No, we have to vote.
Right, you're not doing a vote.
Roger. Okay.
You're right. Right.
Okay, so next up is reports from the Planning Commission excluding truck terminals as a conditional use in commercial zones.
Mr. Clint Spencer will be making his first presentation to our council.
Ours, not First Amendment.
Monumental.
Well, Chair and council members, it's good to be with you tonight. Good to be in Ogden. If I slip up and say Orem, please excuse me. So tonight the amendments before us is to change the provision of allowing truck terminals in the C3 zone from a conditional use to a not permitted use in the C3 zones. A truck terminal is generally a facility used by a motor freight company to dispatch, transfer, receive, or ship goods by truck and where these vehicles are stored. They're typically fairly large operations, and typically not very sightful. Well, they're typically unsightly. So the concern with the C3 zone is that these C3 zones are designated as commercial areas, and commercial areas depend highly on traffic and visibility. Truck terminals typically don't require this type of visibility in order for their success. And so just to backtrack a little bit, they're currently allowed as a conditional use, and up to 2005, a conditional use was something that the city could come in and say that they didn't want them there just because. But after that, after 2005, state law changed so that a conditional use is basically seen as a permitted use, but there are certain provisions that can go into place in terms of mitigating that use on other adjacent properties. So the planning staff has been going through a list of conditional uses and trying to update our ordinances to take some of these provisions that might have been there that are no longer appropriate in certain zones out, and this is one that we certainly feel that falls into that category. Most of the C3 zone is currently along major traffic corridors, Washington, 5 Point, Wall Avenue, 36th Street. Those are some examples of where the C3 zone exists. This is just a vicinity map showing where the C3 zone currently exists. You can see it on 12th Street and Wall, large portion there, large portion further south on Wall as well. So the recommendation from City Council, or from Planning Commission anyways, excuse me, was to eliminate the C3 zone or eliminate the truck terminal use from the C3 zone and permit it in the M2, DDR, and OICP zones, which are typically located west of Wall. So on the left side is looking at it from my stance anyways, and probably from yours. The M1 is on the left, or is currently not permitted as well. And then on the right is the zoning where it would be permitted in those M2, OICP, and DDR zones. Currently, there are no truck terminal companies that would be affected by this. All the truck terminal companies are located currently in the M2 zone, so nobody would be considered as non-conforming or anything like that. If there are any questions, I'd be glad to address them.
Welcome to Ogden, Mr. Spencer.
Much. Glad to be here.
Thank you.
We will now receive any public input on this proposed ordinance. Seeing none, I would entertain a motion.
I will make a motion that we adopt proposed ordinance 2016-32.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Garner to adopt proposed ordinance 2016-32 with a second by Councilmember Heyer. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Lopez.
Aye.
Councilmember Nadolski.
Aye.
Councilmember Stevens.
Aye.
Councilmember Garner.
Aye.
Councilmember Heyer.
Aye.
Acting Chair Blair.
Aye. Thank you. That passes. Next up is public comments. This is an opportunity to address the council regarding concerns or ideas on any topic. Please list your name and address for the record and limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Good evening. I'm Bob Sawatsky, 762 Liberty Avenue in Ogden. I was here last month with a proposal for a bike plan, and I just wanted to say thank you very much for the hearing. I felt I learned a lot, and I'm going to have to reconsider it, because honestly, I think it's more of a bike trail for where the Gold Star Drive is, and then the bike boulevard for Madison Avenue. So I just have, there's only 3 minutes, so I'll keep it quick. There's good news, bad news, and I have a question. The good news is, thanks to Mark Johnson, he promised that the tree that blew over would be cleared away, and it was, 2 days later. Also, I don't know if you know it, but Bill Cook and I were in a video produced by Channel 4 News called, it was about bicycling. I felt it was really good. It showed the new branding of Ogden and our new bike master plan, and then they showed the log that needed the tree trunk that needed to be cleared away, and then the next day it was cleared away. Also, I'd like to congratulate you on Liberty Park. There's a bike path going through there now. They're not finished with the park yet, but they've poured the 10-foot wide bike serpentine, and it's fun to ride through. I've commuted to work 3 times on that before they put a fence, because the construction's not ready yet, and I understand that, but I think you guys are on the right path. You've completed one block of a 5-block bike boulevard. There's just 4 more to go. I attended the public open house about Oak Den last week, and I had a good talk with Brandon Cooper, the Community and Economic Development Deputy Director, and he feels Madison Avenue is adjacent to the area for the Oak Den Blight area, and it could be included in the plan if you want to include that as part of the Oak Den. There's one other thing. This is, well, the bad news. There was a big windstorm yesterday, and another tree blew over. I'm really sorry. It happens to be on that same block, and, well, it's obvious why. The block has been neglected since 1992. There's been no maintenance on that block, and there's a green waste facility that's erected a lot of really good compost, and that's, the walls are eroding in there of that block, and so another tree fell over. But it's no problem. I have a pruning saw. One more thing, I have a question. When is the next Oak Den open house? Thank you. Have an answer for that, or?
We'll have it.
Okay, thank you.
At the end, yep, thank you. Is that it? Okay. Seeing no other public comments, Mr. Johnson, would you like to address Mr. Sawatsky's question?
Yeah, it was a good question. We don't have the answer yet on that. We're still sitting down trying to figure out what's the best plan forward. We learned a lot of things at the open house a few days ago. We learned that a couple of our guys can't talk for 8 hours straight. But we also learned that we really need to kind of bring it back into house and rethink our approach. And so that's kind of our next step is internally we need to sit down and figure out what that is. We'll get the word out once we have more open houses concerning Oak Den area. And the other question, maybe you could see me after about the tree. If there's something I need to send our people over to work on, okay.
Okay. And it's you again. Comments from administration.
The mayor's spending a few days with his family on vacation, so he's not here tonight. I just thought I'd let you know where he was. And other than that, I don't have anything.
Comments from council members?
Just a huge thank you to Jay and his crew for helping us with the OFOM celebration and cleaning up the 24th Street, even though it's a UDOT road. They took the effort to really make that a beautiful entrance for those who are coming into the city. And those efforts continued also with our historic 25th Street car show. I think it was a great time to celebrate Ogden, and many people came and enjoyed those two events that were held this past week.
Chair Blair, I'd like to say thank you to the administration for recommending we hit the pause button and open that open house, or holding the open house. I think it was really useful. I know that I personally learned a lot as well, listening to our people and the citizens of our community. I think it was a good, genuine dialogue, and I think you guys know how much that means to me personally. I know how much it means to all of us here, and so I thank you for making that effort, not only to hear what people had to say, but truly listening. And I can tell on our end that the administration is truly listening to what people told them, because they're taking the information that they gained from that very seriously. So I really very much appreciate that.
Chair Blair, I just want to take an opportunity to thank Mr. Johnson for his support and his willingness to explore opportunities to write for a grant, to try to expand our boxing youth programs in Ogden. Just as we can see today, from Diego, and I think this is something that is of great interest of a lot of people in the community. So thank you very much, Mr. Johnson, for that support.
Okay, with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Moved. Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Heyer and a second by Councilmember Garner to adjourn. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? There will be a special redevelopment agency meeting following this meeting. Good evening and welcome to the special redevelopment agency meeting for Tuesday, June 7th, 2016. Let the roll call reflect that all board members are present with the exception of Chair White, who is asked to be excused. First on the agenda is approval of minutes, the work session of February 16th, 2016, and the joint study session and regular meeting of March 8th, 2016. Board Member Garner.
Yes, Vice Chair Blair, I've reviewed those minutes and found them to be correct. And I'll make a motion that we adopt these minutes.
Second.
We have a motion by Board Member Garner to approve the minutes and a second by Board Member Heyer. This is a voice vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That passes. Next up is one item listed under common consent, FY 2016 budget amendment, year-end adjustment, setting the public hearing for June 21st, 2016.
Vice Chair Blair, I would make a motion that we approve the common consent agenda for the Special Redevelopment Agency meeting tonight.
Second.
We have a motion by Board Member Heyer to approve the item listed under common consent with a second by Board Member Garner. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Next up is a public hearing on the fiscal year FY 2017 proposed budget. Ms. Zeller-Smith.
Acting Chair Blair, thank you. And board members, it's glad to be here and earn my pay for a change. We're just going to review the Ogden City Redevelopment Agency. Tonight you are going to consider adoption of the FY17 budget. Just to review briefly, the redevelopment, we use the term redevelopment sort of as a general term, but it also, a redevelopment area has legal term, is a legal term as well. And so the redevelopment areas cover three different kinds of areas, well, four in this case. Redevelopment areas, which were created under an older law, the urban renewal area, which is created under the newer law, economic development areas, and community development areas. And we have a total of 13 redevelopment areas, 1 urban renewal area, 5 economic development areas, and 1 community development area. In 2015, we actually retired some of the older redevelopment areas, Washington Boulevard, St. Benedict's Manor, and Union Gardens. And that had some impact on the budget. As you can see through this comparison, that we have some reductions of about between 10 and 11% reduction from the previous year's adopted FY16 budget that is proposed in the tentative FY17 budget. Total proposed is $18,107,900. The major 65% of our redevelopment money or tax increment money comes from just 3 of our redevelopment areas. You can see the West 12th EDA, the CBD Mall RDA, and the DDO Economic Development Area. And you can see the impacts of those. Interesting, the West 12th EDA will expire in 2016. This is the last year that will be included in the budget. And also Hinckley Drive is another one that will expire in 2016. The West 12th EDA does have some debt associated with that, but the payments, this will be the last payment that we'll make in the FY17. So the payments and debt retirement will coincide with the expiration of the development area. As I mentioned, as we discussed this in work sessions and reviewed this with the Comptroller's Office, there's no changes proposed to the FY17 budget. And so the reference to the attachment A is just that there's no changes. So with that, we would just recommend that you adopt the proposed FY17 budget. Do you have any questions? Okay.
Thank you. This is a public hearing, so I would entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion to open the public hearing by Board Member Garner with a second by Board Member Heyer. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I will move that we close the public hearing.
I second it.
We have a motion to close the public hearing by Board Member Heyer with a second by Board Member Garner. This is also a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. With that, I would entertain a motion.
And with that, Vice Chair, I'll make a motion that we adopt proposed resolution 2016-14.
I second it.
12?
I got 12.
2016-12.
Okay. We have a motion by Board Member Garner to adopt proposed resolution 2016-12 and a second by Board Member Heyer. This is a roll call vote.
Board Member Nadolski?
Aye.
Board Member Stevens?
Aye.
Board Member Garner?
Aye.
Board Member Heyer?
Aye.
Board Member Lopez?
Aye.
Acting Chair Blair?
Thank you, that passes. Next up is public comment. This is an opportunity to address the board regarding concerns or ideas on any topic. Please state your name and address for the record and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Seeing none, comments from the executive director.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Comments from board members? With that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion to adjourn by Board Member Heyer with a second by Board Member Garner. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That passes. And there will be one other meeting, the Special Municipal Building Authority meeting following this. Good evening and welcome to the Special Municipal Building Authority meeting for Tuesday, June 7th, 2016. Let the roll call reflect that all trustees are present with the exception of Chair White, who has asked to be excused. First up is a public hearing for the FY 2017 proposed budget. Ms. Eller-Smith.
Thank you, Acting Chair Blair and trustees. Just want to review briefly with you the Ogden City Municipal Building Authority budget for FY17. This is a budget that doesn't change much from year to year. This is a comparison of the adopted FY 2016 and the proposed FY 2017. You can see in 2016 they had sent some money to fund balance, and that's not happening this year, but it makes sense. All of the money goes to debt service or insurance fees, and so they just put that additional money towards the debt service. So there are no proposed changes based on our discussions to the Ogden City Municipal Building Authority. It's the proposed budget for FY 2017 is $550,475. And with that, if there's no questions, we just recommend that you adopt the budget.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Acting Chair Blair, I will move that we open the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion by Trustee Heyer to open the public hearing and a second by Trustee Garner. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Seems there's no movement. I'll make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion to close the public hearing by Trustee Garner with a second by Trustee Heyer. This is also a voice vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That passes.
With that, Vice Chair Blair, I make a motion that we adopt proposed resolution 2016-1.
Second.
We have a motion by someone other than Board Member Heyer or Garner, or Trustee Heyer or Garner. The motion was made by Trustee Lopez to adopt proposed resolution 2016-1 and a second by Trustee Heyer. This is a voice vote, or a roll call vote.
Trustee Stevens?
Aye.
Trustee Garner?
Aye.
Trustee Heyer?
Aye.
Trustee Lopez?
Aye.
Trustee Nadolski?
Aye.
Acting Chair Blair?
Aye. Thank you. That passes. Next up is public comments. This is an opportunity to address the board regarding concerns or ideas on any topic. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes, or please list your name and address for the record and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Seeing none. President?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Okay, and comments from other trustees?
Just that I like the sound of Trustee Lopez and Trustee Garner
Yeah.
in particular. It's got a good ring to it. Thank you. No other comments tonight.
Safe to assume that Trustee Garner and Trustee Heyer should not make any more motions.
They filled their allotment.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second?
We have a motion to adjourn by Trustee Lopez with a second by Trustee Heyer. This is a voice vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you all.